Welcome back to the 2023 SIEDC Business Conference. We're here with one of our premier sponsors, Brian Gomez, Citizens Bank. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So before we give him all the hard-hitting questions, I just want to share a little bit about Brian. So I've had the privilege of knowing him for about 20 years, which is making me very old. But I have to say, one of the themes and one of the reoccurring topics is how being involved in the community is so key to the success of both the organization and everyone around. And you, my friend, have been involved in everything since day one. I mean, our 20 under 40 days, our 40 under 40 days. So I feel like the day you set foot on Staten Island, you were involved in every event that there was. You were giving back. You were out there supporting, sponsoring. So I just want to give that little bit of background before we get into the interview, because it plays a huge role in both your character and where you've taken all the brands you've been a part of.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate the kind words.
But it's true. You've been out there grinding it. I mean, you can't say
we all
any
have.
other way. Right?
We all have, right, Ebony? But I think, like you said, being involved in the community, and it's not just about business. I mean, business is important. It's thriving for Staten Island. But being part of the community and giving back is it's essential to growth and helping others. And feeling good about yourself after, if you get somebody a new opportunity, or maybe you never know where you're going to come across somebody that's going to really spark an interest and motivate you to do something different and come out of your comfort zone. So I think when you can make an impression on a youth or even someone else that's looking to build their business, I think it's great.
Now, you're involved in other boroughs, obviously. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Is this really a Staten Island thing? We keep talking about community. Is it truly, are we like above and beyond with community, or do you see that throughout all the other boroughs?
I think we have different. I think Staten Island's unique, right? So if you're from Staten Island, you understand. You're from the North Shore, you're from the South Shore, Mid Island. Like, you understand Staten Island. It's a different, different community altogether. But the other boroughs and they have pockets of this. So they're so big, but they have pockets of it. Where Staten Island is, even though we would be considered one of the largest cities throughout the United States in comparison, but we're one of the small boroughs, but it's so impactful, and it's 1 degree of separation on Staten Island. So that's what's really different. And like you said, I am involved in other organizations in Manhattan. I've been involved in organizations in Brooklyn at the time when I used to cover Brooklyn at one point, but it's pockets in other boroughs where Staten Island, it's just one big community and everybody knows each other.
So now, Brian, you guys know Brian was a college athlete?
I did not.
So
I feel like I did.
But I think one of the greatest things as a friend and seeing somebody who's so involved in business is what you're doing now with your son and how you're training him. So I think it's a really neat thing as a dad looking at that. But I think it's part of what you do is it echoes through not just business but through life. So it's pretty neat to see.
Thank you. My son, I have 3 children right now, and my oldest is 15. Now he's at that age, and we have a lot of comedy on sports, and he's in track and field and football. And we're actually getting ready to do a college tour, so we're getting ready.
Good for you. Congrats.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. It's a good father-son bonding moment. And I find that the interesting part is because I have 2 young little girls at home as well. Is that we don't get a chance to talk too much because the girls want a lot of attention. But when we're in the car driving when I pick them up from school and we're on our way home, and that's when we have our moments of bonding and we talk about everything in life, what goes on in school, girls, education, sports. So it's really fun, and thank you for bringing that up. Sports in general, I think, is so important in a young youth's life that they are able to really create some values and bring that to the workforce, about teamwork, about discipline, about hard work. And those things can actually take you a long way in life. So I try to instill that in my son and talk about the values.
In addition to that, though, with speaking of values, you're part of a lot of different nonprofits as well. And you have a couple that are closer, more near and dear than others, but tell us a little bit about the ones that you're working with.
Well, I'm on the foundation board for the Richmond University Medical Center. That was the hospital I went to when I was a little boy. Like I said, I'm a North Shore kid originally, and to me, to give back to that institution means a lot because there is a service that needs, there's a need on the North Shore, and Rumsey does fill that need. And its success and continued growth is important for the Staten Island community, especially in the underserved areas of Staten Island. I also am involved with another organization called Grand Street Settlement on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I'm on the board of directors there. And why is that so important to me? Again, it's personal. So my aunt, and actually my family, when they came from Puerto Rico originally, that's where they migrated to, was on the Lower East Side back in the 50s and 60s. And being a part of that community, and then now giving back, because what they do, that particular organization, it's, I guess the model, the best way to describe it is that they are involved in a child's life from the beginning of, or individual's life from twinkle to wrinkle, as they say. So they have programming for early education, to family services, and then to senior citizen services. So there's a full gamut of services they provide in that community, and that's why I got involved. My aunt's actually also on the board, and it's been something that she was very passionate about. And as she kind of transitions off, I've taken the mantle for that for the family, and it's been an honor actually to be part of that.
That's great.
So there's a couple. There's just a few that I'm involved in. And speaking about autism, and I know we spoke a lot about that, Dan. It's another organization. This is based out of New Jersey called Giving Hope Network. And the segment that really attracted me to this organization was the fact that it had this protocol, Can you hear me now? And I know it's kind of similar to like Verizon, Can you hear me now? But it deals with a nonverbal spectrum of autism. And what I found so powerful about it was that it gave this individual a voice. And I hadn't seen it done live. And basically what they do is they provide them an iPad, and they're able to communicate through the iPad and tell you what they're thinking. And it was done live in a gala, an event, and it's just—
That's powerful.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, there was not one dry eye in the audience, because the individual said, people think I'm stupid, but I'm really not. I'm very smart. I know what's going on. And when he said that, I just dropped, everybody's jaw dropped.
Wow.
And to me, that broke my heart, because I can only imagine. It's a shell of what they really are. And I know that there's a lot of beauty behind that. So that's why I originally got involved with that organization.
So you originally, when you think about a banker, you're thinking about a guy with like sharp shoulders who's going in and undercutting people like Shark Tank. And here we have Brian Gomez,
wearing
who's
a monocle.
Right, wearing a monocle, right? You have a unique persona of what you think a banker is, and here you have this guy with a huge heart, huge personality. So talk a little bit about the bank that you're representing now and the EDC conference and what it means for you to be a part of it.
So it was kind of interesting. I was having a conversation with some of the folks at SIEDC, and I really wanted to introduce Citizens Bank to Staten Island community. And Citizens has been very open. When we went originally from investors to Citizens, we've been very open to really trying to understand the markets that they're now, they have acquired, and they're now working with the local community. So it was kind of a big introduction. Today was like a coming out party in the sense for Citizens and SIEDC, because I really wanted to understand the business community, the impact, how we operate, because again, we're different than the rest of the boroughs. So you could write a check to a big organization, I guess say Red Cross or so on and so forth, and they do great, they do good work. But how does that proceeds come to the local community?
Your customers.
To the customers,
right.
To the people. And I wanted them to really get a good opportunity, good sense to learn about the SIEDC and learn about the business community in general. So getting them involved, and I believe they were very impressed with how things were operated. I think it went really well. And Citizens Bank is committed to communities that they serve in. They mentioned the three major pillars of what they're passionate about earlier today. And they really want to invest back into the people in Staten Island. So it was a good, I think it's a good marriage, right? And I am grateful that they allow me to continue my role within Staten Island as I do business in New Jersey and I do business in New York. So I'm very happy that they let me continue to pursue my passions.
So Brian, the best way to find the services for Citizens?
Sure. So we have 5 locations on Staten Island. The branch managers would be willing to help any of our clients to come in. We have locations in Grasmere, New Dorp, Bull's Head, Forest Avenue area, down towards Port Richmond, and Tottenville. So we have 5 locations. We have some new management that came in the area, but they're some legacy Citizens folks and there's some legacy investors. So faces, not all the faces have changed, which is great, and that makes it consistent for our clients. Plus, we have a business banking team that's there to service them if anything comes up of any need. So we kind of get that personal touch.
So, Brian, we're going to wrap it up real quick. We just want to thank you for what you and Citizens do in our community and what you give back and just being part of everything here.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for even having me here. So appreciate the opportunity. Great talking to you guys.
That's a wrap.
Thanks, man. That was pretty awesome.